Welcome everybody, Chef Marshall O'Brien here, and welcome to Cooking with Confidence. Super excited to have you in the kitchen with me tonight. We're going to cook up some fun stuff. I've already been getting great feedback, and we haven't even had the episode yet because people get the recipes in advance. And before I get into the recipe, folks, if you're wondering what I'm talking about, make sure to follow us on Facebook at Chef Marshall O'Brien. Follow us on Instagram at Chef Marshall O'Brien. You can sign up to receive the recipes and shopping list so you can watch these episodes and cook with me in real time like those of you who are right now are doing. It's going to be awesome. You know, we put the show together to help three things. Number one is to help give you skills and confidence in the kitchen to make great, tasty, nourishing meals. The second thing is that we want to help you take control of your meal planning so that you can get a little stress out of your life. And then the third point is that we want to teach you how to nourish you and your family and not just feed you and your family. So I really appreciate the opportunity to provide this for you. We're getting a lot of great interaction, a lot of great feedback. You might be saying, what are you talking feedback, Chef? Well, people watch the show either like you're doing right this second, cooking the recipe, and then people comment. They take pictures. It's fabulous, and they submit it in the comments below. So make sure that you're doing that. And yes, Diane, you are right. Turkey makes you sleepy because it has tryptophan, a calming amino acid in it. It's pretty cool. I'm watching the comments here. Also, speaking of comments and taking questions and relaying to me, I have my right-hand gal, Jana, who is going to be taking your questions and mentioning the things you're talking about. So we want to make this as interactive of an experience as possible, and I'm just excited to be doing this. It's a lot of fun. I got a great team in the back making it happen, and with Jana making it happen, and of course me helping you make it happen in your kitchen. And that's what we want to focus on. How about that recipe? What are we doing? We are working tonight. We're making a turkey bolognese. It's a super simple recipe, really tasty. You know, you're going to love it. Like I said, someone already made it earlier today because they couldn't be here tonight, but they got the recipe, so they made it and sent their pictures, and it was super beautiful, and they're excited. To make tonight's recipe, you're going to want to have with you, you're going to have pasta, you're going to have some tomatoes, turkey, carrots, some bay leaf garlic, some onions, tomato paste, a little salt and pepper, and some vegetable or chicken stock. It's going to be easy. Let's get right in. Folks, the way this is going to work, I am going to be cooking with you, yours truly, in the kitchen. We're both yours truly. I don't know. Anyways, the point is we're going to be cooking in the kitchen together. And if you have questions while you're going through the steps, please make a comment say, hey, got a question, because we're going to help you in real time. Okay? First thing we got to do is make sure that you have a big skillet or you have a stock pot. You know, you're gonna cook your pasta per package directions. We've done that. Boom, done. Then we're gonna get our pot or our big skillet for our sauce. I'm using a deeper pot just to make it. I really could use it. I could use a big skillet, but if you're doing a full batch, this is going to be easier. I'm making a half batch tonight, and I actually have a little TV magic for you later on with a finished sauce that you can put on the pasta. So you'll see what it looks like when you first start and when you are done, so that when you have fun cooking tonight and fun cooking and eating tonight, you're going to say, wow, that was absolutely delicious. Our pot's getting hot. We're going to want to make sure that we have all the ingredients. We already talked about that. You're going to want to start prepping your ingredients while you start with the first thing to cook it is going to be the turkey. We're going to add turkey to our pot. Now, depending on the type of pot you have, you will not need to add any fat to the pot. If you're concerned about it sticking, like I'm using this cast iron ceramic, this meat won't stick to it. It works great. But you can always add some olive oil or a little butter if you wish. Totally fine. You want to make sure, though, that you have a sizzle going, and we have a sizzle. I'm going to heat this up just a little bit more, but you can tell, if you really listen, I got a sizzle. Now, I do not recommend that you stick your face in the pot like that to hear the sizzle, but at the end of the day, I got the sizzle, and that's what you want. So we're going to start cooking this up. Let us know, folks. Comments, questions, what are you loving right now when you're in the kitchen? What's a challenge for you? It could be about the recipe. It could be about really anything in the kitchen, because that's what I love to do, is I want to help you improve your skills and confidence in the kitchen. I want to make it fun, make it inviting, make it a part of our life. Okay, that's the whole deal. While our turkey is cooking here, folks, we're going to take some carrots. The recipe calls for 2 small onions and 4 carrots. When you break it down, if you're more concrete, you want to look at it in cups. We're going to look at about 1.5 cups for the onions and 1.5 cups for the carrots, and maybe that'll help you out. Again, I'm doing a half batch here. I'm going to peel up my carrots, and then I'm going to dice them up. It's really important, ladies and gentlemen, that you feel comfortable in your kitchen. And what are ways that you can feel comfortable? Let me know in the chat box there, folks. What are ways that you can feel comfortable in the kitchen? Well, how about having the right equipment, right? You got your pots, your pans, you got a nice veggie peeler that you like, you have your knives, your cutting boards. Make sure you have a sharp knife, and a sharp knife is a safe knife. A lot of times people have dull knives and they're pushing really hard trying to chop up their vegetables or their whatever, and it's really important. It's really important that you have a sharp knife. I'm using my honing steel to just spruce up my blade here. It was already pretty much sharp, and I'm just sprucing it up. And I'm going to get to this carrot. Everybody paying attention? All right. Let's cut up the carrots.
Some questions coming in.
Yes.
What ratio of white meat to dark meat is best for this dish? Rosie's asking.
What ratio of white meat to dark meat? Well, that's a good question, Rosie. White meat is going to be a lot more lean than dark meat, and the dark meat's going to have the nice fat. I would suggest maybe go 80 to 90%, and it kind of depends on kind of how you like to cook and the flavors that you want to get. The darker the meat is going to be a little richer in flavor as well. So I would say that's sort of a personal preference, but be on the safe side, go 80 to 90%. If you're buying, I know a couple people who were sending emails earlier in anticipation for tonight's episode. They were turkey hunters. Now, I don't know how many of you watch tonight are turkey hunters, but they ground up their own meat, so they have their own ratio. But at the grocery store, you're probably going to find 90% most of the time. I'm curious, Rosie, if you have a preference. Let us know in the chat box. Love to know that. I'm chopping up, or I'm actually dicing my onions here, and someone else had a question about the peeler. I actually love this peeler. I love this peeler. It's nice. The funny thing is it's got 2 versions. It's got a serrated. We were actually having this conversation at my house a couple of weeks ago. I don't care for the serrated piece, but I love the blade. It's a Cuisinart, Steve, to answer your question. I definitely recommend a quality veggie peeler. You can go OXO. You can go Cuisinart. They're going to get you what you want. One thing to pay attention to is you're going to have the length of the blade actually can be different in sizes. The length of the blade can be longer, it can be wider. So you want to just make sure that it's not too wide, because you're going to peel so much of the edible flesh of your vegetables, and it's sort of wasteful. So that's just something to pay attention to. All right, but we'll do a little more peeling. That was a great question. Love it. This is the whole point of the show, folks, is we want you asking questions while you're preparing, or that when you're going to prepare, that you feel all set up. And if you're kind of unclear about an approach to take, well, now you've got answers, you've got solutions, and I want to be cooking with you every week. So let's make it happen together. Your turkey should be over halfway done now, and you can see I'm breaking it up into pieces here. It's kind of chunky there. It will break down as you cook your sauce and make your sauce. It'll just take some time. For those of you that are watching right now and you're wondering where to get the recipes, if you go to chefmarshallshow.com, or you go to the link that's in the post here, you can sign up to get the recipes in advance, and then you can do this in real time with me, or you can do it on the weekend or whenever you have time. That's the beautiful thing about this stuff, is you can do it whenever you want. All right, but I like having you with me so we can answer the questions, in real time.
Okay, a couple more questions.
Yes.
Carrie wants to know, why do you do the meat? Oh, no, another question came and I lost her question.
I'm going to add the carrots here. Go ahead.
I'll go back to that. Is it 90? Rosie is asking. Okay. Oh, there's more question. I'm losing it. Is it 90% dark meat?
90% white meat, as I understand. All right, next questions. We got a lot of folks asking questions. This is great.
Aaron is saying, if I was going to put in a softer veggie like zucchini, when should that be added? Same as the onions?
Well, that is good to know. The kind of vegetables you're using are definitely going to determine when you add them to your dish. So I like how you're thinking, Aaron. Smart. That's good. You're aware, you're conscious, and you're doing what you got to do to make sure that your food comes out tasting fantastic and the texture is good. So to answer your question, if you're using a softer vegetable like zucchini, you would add that. I would add that probably on the second half, on the tail end, because zucchini is like 98% water, and it's going to easily soften up, and it's going to go mushy if you don't let it if you cook it too long. Whereas carrots obviously are going to take longer. So add your zucchini. I would add your zucchini maybe right before you deglaze the pan, and that'll be really clear here in a minute. Appreciate that question. I saw some other good ones.
Can leftover cooked turkey be used?
Yeah, why not? I want to get all the barriers out of the way. I like it that you're asking specifics on the nuances of what the ingredients is you're cooking, when to add them, or the fat content and all that. If you have leftover turkey from whatever, absolutely use it. Get all the barriers out of the way so you can take ownership in your kitchen, have fun cooking great nourishing foods. Absolutely. You saw that I just chopped up a bunch of onions. One thing I like to do, and I always try to give you tips while you are, to give you tips so that you can just make life a little easier for yourself. What I like to do is I'll take up onions and I'll chop a bunch up. That's why I said you can either go by, you can say your recipe calls for an onion or a couple onions. But I like to chop or slice a bunch of vegetables in advance, and then I'll have them in my freezer in an airtight container so that you can then take out what you need, and boom, you've got one less thing that you have to prepare. And that, if that works for you, if you like that, I say go for it. And even tonight, while you're preparing this, chop up a few extra cups. Okay, it's really easy to do, especially if you're doing the practice that I'm encouraging you with these recipes. Your cooking skills, you can get stuff done, boom, easy. So definitely do that to save you time down the road, especially if you're doing batch recipes on the weekends and things like that. Okay, let's get back to our recipe here. Yes.
Question.
Yes.
Does Morningstar crumbles or corn crumbles, etc., work okay as a turkey replacement for the vegetarians?
Here's my suggestion on when you're replacing ingredients for certain ingredients. I think it's really smart. Number one is, what's the purpose? I don't see any reason to do it just to do it. Obviously, you want to substitute. So, we had protein in there for texture, and we had turkey in there for texture and for protein, and now you want to substitute the protein. Okay, got it. Well, what can you do for vegetarian meals? You could do garbanzo beans, black-eyed peas, black beans. I mean, there's lentils. Okay, you've got the specific, Dominic's asking about the questions on, the corn, the Morningstar or the corn product. If those, I think they would be okay. Here's where I want you to really be aware, is what's in the ingredient list. What is the actual food? Because sometimes those substitutions, those alternatives, at face value, hey, great substitute, I'm not eating meat, or I'm not eating gluten, or I'm not eating dairy or whatever. But a lot of times they're going to have way too much added fillers, emulsifiers, extra sugar, extra salt, that sort of thing. So read the nutrition label and make sure that you're not setting yourself up for some hypertension issues or headaches because there's too much sugar or whatever. And the ingredient list, is there a bunch of stuff in there that you can't pronounce? You may want to avoid it. But I think in this case, Dominic, go for it, try it. Again, I want to take you in positive steps, and it sounds like you are on the right track, my friend. I still want to try some of that squash, by the way. Awesome.
More questions.
Yes.
We have a lot of questions tonight.
That's good.
Let's see.
Questions.
Amy wants to know, why not use fresh tomatoes instead of canned? And another question is, Sandy is asking, are the tomatoes drained?
Okay. To answer your questions, I'm gonna add the bay leaf. I'm gonna get the garlic in here. We're getting some really nice flavor developing. What you're gonna see happen in your pan, if you haven't yet, pretty soon you're going to see some brown bits accumulating on the bottom of your pan. That brown stuff is called fond, and that fond is flavor. So you want to make sure that you got the temperature at enough where you don't burn it too high or that it just sits there and kind of simmers the food, because you want to get that brown stuff going, those bits going, and depending on where you're at in that stage, you can judge it accordingly. Going back to, I think Sandy asked the question, was it fresh tomato? Someone asked about fresh tomatoes versus canned tomatoes and all that. We're using canned diced tomatoes because you've got the juices. They've settled a bit. They've been blanched. Usually, most of the time when canning tomato process, having the when you can tomatoes, they get blanched, so they're like semi-cooked. The reason why I'm pointing this out is the tomatoes are more tender, and we've got natural occurring juices in there, and we want to have that for this recipe. Fresh tomatoes won't yield us the flavor, well, it's not so much about the flavor. They won't yield us the moisture content that we want and the texture that we want. So that's why I go with the canned diced tomatoes. Rasa, I am honored that you are watching tonight. What a treat. Thank you so much. I'm thrilled. I'm thrilled to have you be a part of it. I hope, Rasa, make sure you sign up to get our recipes so that you can cook with me in real time, all right? Jana, will you please make sure that the links are in the comment box? I know it's in the post, but boy, you made my day. Now I'm distracted. What was I doing there? I love Rasa. I haven't seen you in a long time. I hope you're well. All right, Dominic, I'll stop by and pick up that squash someday. All right, folks, I want to go back into the pan here. We've got brown bits. I mentioned the fond, that flavor. It's in here. You can see it on the sides. I'm using a gas stove. Depending on what you have, if you have electric, if you have induction, if you have gas, you can still achieve this with any kind of cooktop. It really comes down to regulating your temperature properly and making sure that your pan's halfway decent so that you can get so you can get that, achieve that. While I'm chopping up this garlic, I got to be paying attention that I don't, get all distracted by having awesome people. Sharon, you're cooking with us tonight. I hope. Sharon from California, what a treat. Now I'm all distracted with all these awesome people hanging out with us tonight, cooking up a storm. You got to make sure that you don't burn your food. Kind of important, right? I'm going to add my garlic. The garlic has naturally occurring sugar in it. I mean, it's minimal, it's minuscule, but the point is that can create some issues. What I'm going to do is I turn down my heat just slightly, and I want to make sure that I don't create, I don't burn my stuff. So what I'm actually going to do, and this is a little bit different than the recipe, is I'm just going to add a little of the broth, right now, and start scraping the bottom of the pan, and then I'm going to continue on with the directions. Can you see, folks, how how the flavor's pulling off there? Can you see that? That flavor is going to really make this recipe. I added bay leaves. I want to tell you a quick story. I was actually going to try to get a little more homework on this, but bay leaf is a nice aromatic, and in Turkey, where my wife is from, and my in-laws, obviously, because my wife's from Turkey, bay leaves will grow, and I suppose they grow warm climates in the U.S. too, but it adds a nice aroma. And this is a really simple recipe where if you want to add more herbs and get a little heartier, more robust flavor in there, you could throw oregano and thyme in there, and you would do that, around this time. But you're going to love it. And using those bay leaves, a lot of people, they're kind of an underrated herb, and I'm really excited that you're using these. But I was going back to Turkey. We'd pick the bay leaves, and they just taste phenomenal. So if you can get your dried bay leaves, if you can get them as fresh dried as possible, meaning they haven't been in a jar for 10 years, that's the way you want to go. Speaking of getting this flavor going, we're going to add tomato paste. And now this, again, intense, like naturally occurring sugar. There's a lot of sugar there. You want to make sure that you don't burn it. So pay attention to that. I'm going to put this in at the bottom, and we're going to caramelize. Got another tip for you. Caramelization is the process where you pull the sugars out of whatever it is that you're cooking. The tomato paste will sit on the bottom of the pan, and it will start to cook, and it will start to develop a richer, heartier flavor. And it will caramelize as a result because of the sugars in there. So pay attention to that. Yes.
Sorry, I'm gonna interact. Erin
Yes.
wants to know, did you put salt and pepper in yet? Because she has some screaming kids and missed a bit, which I understand.
Yep, not yet. I haven't added salt and pepper. We can do that here. We can do it now. In my directions, I say, once you deglaze the pan, throw it in there. At this point, it's not going to affect the flavor. So I'll just add it in right there. So go ahead, Erin. If that helps keep sanity at your house, add the salt and pepper, okay? Get that going. We got this nice and cooked. This looks great. This is sort of a constant process. And what I love about this is if you want to get this done, make it and then freeze it. So you're not tending to it the whole time. And the reason why I've got to tend to it just because of that the tomato action in there. But you can make this on the weekend and then have it frozen, ready to go. You're going to absolutely love this. I'm now going to officially, Carrie, you made it tonight. Love it. Love it, love it, love it. We have, we're now going to deglaze the pan, and the official deglaze, which before was just a little snap. We're going to add that. Again, when you deglaze the pan, you pull the flavors off of the pan. Pull that fond. Anybody having a new aha with tonight's cooking lesson? Let me know in the comments. We got a lot of comments. I got bay leaf Christmas wreath. You'll have a lifetime supply. You would. And I don't have one of those, but now I'm really curious because I've gotten wreaths in the past, and they're not made out of bay leaves, and I probably couldn't cook with whatever they were made out of, and that would be pretty awesome. All right.
Cindy wants to know, could you use pork instead?
Absolutely. That would taste dynamite. Add our diced tomatoes. Oh, this looks great. This looks.
Did you drain the diced tomatoes?
No.
No.
You want to keep the juices. The juices evolve in the canning process. I think I mentioned that before, but I'll just paraphrase. The juices evolve in the canning process because of when it cooks, it softens and it opens up, releases the cells, which get more juices in there. We want to have those juices in here. Okay, my friends, my ladies and gentlemen, this is going to simmer for about 25 to 30 minutes. And the whole intent of it, keeping it off, uncovered, the whole purpose is to reduce the liquid by about half. So now you have this really robust, chunky, hearty, flavorful sauce that you're going to put with your pasta. I do not recommend grabbing a hot pan like that. I don't know what I was thinking. I didn't burn my hands. But what I want you to think about is when you are reducing the liquid, does the flavor intensify or does it lose the flavor? What do you think? Let me know in the chat box right now. Go. Put the courage in your fingertips. Boom, boom, boom. What do you think? I'll tell you right now because I don't want to wait because someone might say, this is boring. What happens is you reduce the liquid, but you keep the flavor. Okay? So that's another tip for you. Keep the flavor. It can intensify the flavor. So if you get too much of the flavor, if it gets a little too strong for you, well, you can always add liquid back. Okay? So keep that in perspective. All right, I know all of you know what you're doing. I love it, and I'm so honored to have you. Oh, Jackie, way to go with intensity. Love it. Have you all here. Make sure, folks, that you're following us on Instagram as well, besides Facebook, at Chef Marshall O'Brien. We want to have you participating. I want to have you sharing this stuff with your friends, with your family, with your friends' family, with folks. Let them know about it. Gonna put this off to the side because we're gonna do a little TV magic, and I would love at this point, ladies and gentlemen, is I want to acknowledge those of you last week that participated. You did some awesome work, and I wanted to give some shout outs to those that did it, starting with Amy. You can see here, obviously, Amy made the Tuscan soup, and she says, and I quote, "This was so delicious. Thank you for teaching me this recipe last week." Super cool. All right, then we got Sandy Richmond. She actually sent me a couple messages about it. She said her husband was skeptical. He ended up liking it. That's a big deal. I mean, we really want people to try these foods and then change their story on how they show up with it. So bravo to Sandy. And then Carrie submitted that they had a blast with their kids. Dang, it happens. We had the blast in the house. And that's what I want you to have. If you're by yourself, if you're with your significant other, if it's with your kids, your grandkids, I want you to have fun. Cook it up. Have a great time. Don't cut off any fingers. And so that was super cool. Every week, every episode, we're going to showcase folks. So please, when you make this, take a picture, make a comment. I mean, if you really want to like be really brave, you could take a picture of you eating it, smiling, giving a thumbs up or something like that. But at a minimum, take a picture of the food and let us know so that we can acknowledge you and honor you when you make that for the next episode. Love it, Sharon, to hear that her grandson is cooking with her. Super cool. Grandsons. 2 boys. I know that. 2 boys, 2 kids. Awesome. Okay. TV magic. Fast forward 25, 30 minutes. We have our turkey bolognese. You can see, folks, it is nice and hearty. Look at that. Nice and hearty. The flavor has intensified. The flavor has evolved. It looks fantastic. You may want to remove the bay leaves. We say in there, remove the bay leaves. The bay leaves aren't going to be very palatable. They're going to have a little tough and woody, so there's no reason to have those. So you'd pick those out, and if you didn't smash them up in the process of the cooking, they'll be intact, and they absolutely will be intact. But just pay attention, be mindful, fish them out in advance, or do it on your own. I have my pasta. Okay, my pasta is cooked, so I am going to portion out my pasta here. Get yourself a nice pasta bowl type thing, and then we're going to take our bolognese. Boy, if Jonna was here watching, she'd give me a hard time for this being such a small bowl with my dish. But wow, does that look?
I can still do it.
Yeah, I know you still can do it. Well, then, does that look fantastic or what? Let me take a little quick bite. I wish yours was done right now so you could enjoy it. This is so good. Folks, you're going to love it. You're absolutely going to love it. This recipe is part of our Smart Nutrition Cookbook, by the way. Okay? So make sure that if you like our recipes and you've been following us for a while, get our Smart Nutrition Cookbook. You can get it right there, smartnutritioncookbook.com. And grab the book. We got an e-version or a regular version. Get it. You know what? Christmas is coming up sooner than later, right? Get it for your friends, for other family members that are not living around you. You want to have awesome recipes. Over 70 recipes in there, along with how to get your kitchen set up for success. So we talk pantry staples, pots, pans, things like that, condiments, blah, 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 all that good stuff. I shouldn't say blah, 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 because it's not blah, blah, blah. Herbs and spices, all that. And then we teach you how to meal plan. All right, so get the cookbook, get it for your friends and family. You're going to love it. And you can have great tasting recipes like these. I hope that you enjoyed tonight. Again, I want to see those pictures in the comments later on when it's all done. But I hope you enjoyed cooking with me as much as I enjoyed cooking with you, and that you enjoy your dinner with your family or whoever you get to be with tonight. Make sure to follow us on Facebook, Chef Marshall O'Brien, and on Instagram at Chef Marshall O'Brien as well. Okay, and we will be continuing to provide you our episodes. We got a great recipe next week, and I'm going to keep it as a surprise. Some of you already know it, but I'm actually changing it up. So you'll want to make sure you tune in. While you're enjoying dinner, I'm going to be enjoying dinner. Now today's a little, world's a little goofy with the whole pandemic thing, but I'm going to still feed my Chef Marshall family crew, and we're going to take care of them. And until next time, I look forward to cooking with you again very soon. Have an awesome, awesome evening. Thank you, everybody. We will see you later. And I'm going to dig in.